What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. We're on some MX Simulator again, and we're going to be playing a very wet and very slippery arena cross track. This is round 4 of 2023 Boots House Arena Cross, created by Chucky Nygren. And I didn't actually know this existed until after the fact, unfortunately. There has been an event on it, although I think they ended up not going with the wet version. They went with the dry one in the end. And I just found it out in Evermove's Discord. If you're unaware of who Evermove is, he was a predominantly MX Bikes player. He's now gone to the dark side of Sim. But you guys know me. I first of all love my Supercross / Arena Cross type vibes. I also love anything that is more like technically challenging, whether it's really deep ruts or wet stuff. And Sim's quite good at this. You know, there was a race years ago it was Loretta's, and one of the years was like a super rutted out deep track. And one thing I like about this is Mr. Nygren, he does use the in-game track editor. So if I wanted to, or if anybody wanted to, they can open the editor in-game and you can have a look for all of these sections that he's created. For example, if I go to gradient placement here, click on this one through this rhythm section, click on edit, you can actually see, if we zoom in, you can see exactly kind of how he's placed his points to create the rhythm. And I really like this because, I mean, it doesn't really apply to me anymore. I have no desire to make any sim track these days. If you was looking to get into sim making and you see tracks that you particularly enjoy the look of, it's definitely worth opening up the track editor just to double check to see if they've made it in it, to see if how they're made. If they've made the track in like Photoshop, for example, and imported the height map in, none of that would exist. So you can't really do it there, but it's just really good. It's just a nice little useful tool. If you've been putting off buying that new MX gear, or you're just looking for some new daily MX related clothing, then head on over to fxrracing.com. Code MXPR_Lins15 at checkout will give you 15% off all motocross and lifestyle products. This code is applicable to the European, Swedish and Norwegian websites, not Canada or the USA. And whilst I've got your attention, you may as well subscribe to the channel. It's just one click of a button and it puts a big old smile on my face. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Now, I've spun a couple of laps because I know I'm probably going to be crashing myself a lot around here. It's very, very tricky, very challenging. And one thing, so the ruts aren't that difficult. They're really, really not. They are not what caused the problem around here. What causes the problem is just how slick the traction is. It's very, very easy to tuck the front end or also slide the back end out in and out of any of these corners. So I'm going to be taking my time a little bit, trying to play it a little bit safe. There's that one big-ish line there where I can trip way out, and for the most part off that, it's nothing too crazy, but it's very, very fun and very enjoyable. And I'm not sure, maybe it kind of goes back to the fact that I really like tracks like Enduro style in any motocross game. But you'll notice in bikes this year, the most successful round that I had, in my opinion at least, was at the MXGP of Ernée, when we done that race in the wet. I don't know why. I feel like a lot of people shy away from these sorts of tracks. I mean, I say I don't know why. The majority of people that play motocross games these days, they're the very casual players, aren't they? That only get maybe like half hour every like other day or so. So they don't want to be sitting there grinding their cheeks off trying to get good enough to be able to go around a really difficult track. But someone like me, who has nothing to better to, see if we get a little backflip going on here. Rotate! Yes! Lovely. Yeah, for someone like me, like these always offer like a lot of fun to me, like a really good challenge, and I do thoroughly enjoy it. Whilst I'm on the subject of difficult tracks and maybe throwing a little bit of enduro in there, for anyone who's unaware, on MX Bikes we are hosting an enduro series, and it's going to be on every Thursday of August. So the first one is going to be on the 3rd of August. So if you're interested in that, go to MyMXB, go sign up, should be good fun. We've got enough sign-ups at the time of me recording this, which is Sunday night. So a good 4 days in advance, which is nice. We've got enough sign-ups so far, whereas if everyone signs up, we have enough people for like a full 30-ish man gate, 35 man gate. So really exciting, looking forward to that. It's been a long time since there's been an Enduro series on that game, so to actually now have a good amount of people sign up for it, where the game's grown in popularity since the last one, would be really cool, really exciting. And I hope to see you all there, and I will line up and stream it all, and you might see yourselves on the stream a little bit. We'll see how that goes. Back to this though, Mr. Nygren, I believe he's the same man that makes the Don't Fall maps, or the Don't Look Down, whichever one it's named, which I've covered on this channel before. So he's in my good books for sure. I really do like the challenge maps on Sim again, and I say it time and time again. Something that I really wish we had more of on MX Bikes. And I heard, so every time I kind of hop on Sim, a lot of people comment on like the sounds and just the visuals in general. General? That's not English. General. Sorry about that. It's getting a little bit late, as you can tell. But one thing that I'm always perplexed by is not moving over to a different engine. However, I did hear from quite a reliable source that apparently when Mr. JLV feels like he's finally done with this game, that he can't do anything else with it, he's going to like open the files to everyone. So God knows what sort of mods we'd get on this game in the future. It does scare me a little bit, because I think surely once everything's open, maybe it'll be really easy to cheat. I'm not too sure. I know there was a bit of a cheating scandal on this game a while ago. It all seems to have died back down now, but I'm not sure if there is any like super solid ways of preventing it. There is a lot of hardcore sim players that do watch these, so feel free to update me on that. I'd be interested to know what the kind of status is on cheating these days, if there's any way of being able to check if it causes any sort of errors when people now try joining servers. But yeah, I know there was a very short period of time when all the cheats were kind of like popping off, and you can like make the track smoother when you're in a lobby with people. So you'll be playing on a smooth, let's say you're on a nationals track that's super bumpy. You can go and smooth all the bumps out if you want to, and they'll still be on the rough track. You're on a smooth one. You can give yourself extra grip, more power. I saw at one point in time you can literally press a button and your bike would start like levitating. So let's say I was going to hit a Supercross triple, maybe I wasn't going to quite get over it. To stop myself crashing, I would just press a button and it would send me a bit further up into the air, so I would get like the lift to get up and over it. It's like all sorts of weird things. But that was kind of just as I was leaving the game, so I don't really know what the stance is on it this day. I don't know how it unveiled. I don't know what's been done to prevent it. But I always have to take everyone's performances with a pinch of salt these days, because especially people that have cheated in the past. I'm not gonna throw any names out there, but I feel like once you've cheated once, there is definitely always that lingering doubt on if you come clean after a while. But yeah, I'm not too sure. Let me know. Definitely let me know. So Mr. Chucky Nigrin, I think you've done a very, very good job of this. It's very fun to ride. I can't imagine how difficult it must have been for the people that were trying to I say this is all guesswork, because to my knowledge I think they ended up changing the track in the end. But if there was any ever qualifying done on this, I can't imagine how stressful it must have been. It is so easy to push it too far. I mean, just getting around the track, if you're doing what I'm doing here and you're just riding it normally, you know, you're not trying to set the world on fire, not going for quad laps, you are purely trying to survive. I was about to say it's not too difficult, as I completely wad myself coming out of the whoops, but in my defence, I can't get through a whoop section without ruts and bumps and wet going through it, so you need to let me off there. But for the most part, it's quite easy to get through, and it's something that I wish we had more of, because it adds like a realism factor to me, especially with this traction we've got. I know a lot of people hate it, which is probably the sole reason why it was changed to the dry version for the race that happened on this. Is traction's very, very difficult. Usually I could come flying through this sand section, have the bike lent over pretty damn far, all things considered, and just get away with it. Mostly the reason why I'm riding the 450 now as well instead of a 250 is just to try and keep it in a slightly higher gear and just like bob my way around the track to keep as much grip as possible. But I love this sort of stuff. Like, this is a bit of me. It makes me kind of tempted to see if I can go back in time and find that old Loretta Lynn's track that I played, because on Sim, I don't know if it still applies, but back in the day when I was playing the game, they used to have a different track for each of like the 3 days of Loretta's. So day 1 would be just like your normal average rough, day 2 might have been pouring down with rain, really deep ride, day 3 might just be kind of extra deep and rough but dry conditions. It was fun. It added a bit more variation to the racing, so it wasn't just if you are good on the one track that they have, you'll just smoke everyone. You know, you have to be good at adapting your riding to each track and each scenario, which I think all kind of plays hand in hand in the racing aspect. Because as I'm crashing here, it's a good time to talk about this. I feel like, and this is no disrespect to anybody, like, it's not meant, it's just it's purely an observation. I feel like these days the fastest people at these games tends to be the younger American audience, that maybe they're off school or college or whatever whatever stage of your life you boys are in at this point. They have a lot of free time that they can dedicate to it, and this isn't like shit talking talk, because I also have a lot of free time. You know, this is literally my job. However, I'm not that passionate to be able to put in that amount of time to get really, really fast. So when I'm going around the track, just trying my best trying to survive, and I've got people coming flying past me like 3-4 seconds lap faster, I'm like, oh my Christ, what on earth am I meant to do here? How can I even compete? But thankfully, I mean, on the bike side of things, it might be getting a little bit easier for me next year, because there is talks of splitting the European and North American regions up. So currently, how it works is I can sign up for the European series, no problem, and then maybe 4 hours after all the racing's done, I can also sign up for the North American series. So what you find happens is a lot of the NA guys, if they haven't got anything else to do during the day, they'll sign up for EU, use that as practice, and sometimes mess around a little bit. I mean, the majority of them take it seriously, so it's not too bad. But they'll treat EU just as practice and not really care, or maybe not ride how they would normally. And then they'll just show up for NA and do like better than others because they've got practice on the road and just how the track forms throughout a race, which got nothing against. You know, I do it. I sign up for EU and I sign up for NA purely for a content basis. I think if I wasn't live streaming races, I would very rarely do NA. You know, it kind of sucks staying up that late. But like I said, there's talks of it being split regions next year for Supercross, which would I'm interested to know if it's going to be a case of, like, let's say you're from NA, you are locked to the NA series and that's that, or let's say you do night shifts as in the NA. Maybe you work nights, so you can't do the NA series, but maybe you can do the EU series. Like maybe they'll allow you to pick one over the other. So let's say for some reason, for some unknown reason, I want to stay up every week and do NA over EU. Maybe I'm allowed to do that, and I just can't do EU anymore. You just lock to one or the other. I'm interested to see what the ruling's going to be, because at the moment, let's say I get, I mean, we'll use WSX as a prime example. Like, it's the best one. Yeah, EU and NA is combined. 250s and 450s are combined. I think I got a 5th and a 2nd, and I got like 3rd overall. But when I got that 5th place, nobody in front of me was from the EU. I was the highest EU guy. So if we was to like kind of reverse that and have split coasts, I would have been the #1 guy. In Moto 1 at least. In Moto 2 we had Cam beat me, which is fair play. I think if it is to be split in 450s at least. And this Hells comes back, and this Hells makes a reappearance. I think someone like Cam will be the other EU guy that I need to watch out for. But it would cause me a lot less stress. So there's pros and cons to it. The pros are life gets made a little bit easier and a little bit less stressful. Cons are you don't get to race against all of the fast people in the game, and maybe the races don't get quite as exciting. So I'm kind of on the fence on where I stand with it. So it bad from a content perspective because I'm missing out on a race every single week. Good from a content perspective because I'll be doing better position-wise in them same races. So it's a hard one. I did try putting a 360 there. I won't lie to you. It went horrifically. Didn't expect that. But on the bright side, looking down at my lap times, I think the couple of laps that I span trying to just get used to this track layout and how it all works, I was in the 50s. Like, I was crashing a lot. So to have multiple laps in the 40-second region, really happy with. And you might probably be looking at this and be like, why on earth is he going so slow? I promise it's a lot harder than it may seem. Download the track and give it a go. Like, I'm having to tiptoe around most of these corners, because if I lean further than I am, it's going to be game over. The front wheel is just going to absolutely disappear on me. But overall, I think for Sim, it looks good. You know, I'm a big fan of having the water in here as well. I think the water's one of the easier parts to do. I think it is just like a 2D plane that you slap in there at a certain like height level, and it fills all the gaps in. The ruts are more impressive to me, especially when I went into the track editor and had to see how they was built, because they don't actually look that deep. Which, if my memory serves me right, I think I always like really struggled in creating smooth transitions between jumps and stuff. I could never get the angles right, and maybe I was just going a little bit overkill. Maybe I needed to make everything a little bit more mellow. I've not tried this track on the dry version yet, although I imagine that there's probably some big boy lines you can hit. You can probably step onto the second tabletop in this last section before the finish. I imagine you can actually blitz the whoops pretty damn good. And overall, it's a really fun track. So even though it didn't get to be used, and it seems like a majority of people are kind of against it, if it's not too much effort to ask, Mr. Nygren, can we have another one, please? Because there's a few people out there that thoroughly enjoy it, and I am one of them, and I think you've done a really, really good job on this, so thank you so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I don't think this will even have any cuts in it at all. I think this is literally just going to be one straight take. I don't think I've stopped to come up for air at all at any point during this, but either way, if you've enjoyed, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'd really, really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts and your stance on kind of wet and rough tracks in games. Do you think they're a little bit too much, and if you're more of a casual player, so you'd rather play something wide open and a bit more fun to you? Or do you like the challenge, and especially the enduro stuff? That'll do it for me. Hope you have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.